Hey folks, welcome back to the Shifting Schools podcast. This is Trisha Friedman bringing you a short and sweet bonus episode. If you are wondering what opportunities lie ahead with Super Bowl coming up next weekend, if you're wondering how can I take that opportunity to really lean into the power of media literacy, this bonus episode is going to talk to you about our free guide that's going to help you do just that, regardless of the subject you teach. Before we dig into that conversation, I want to remind folks, next Tuesday, we kick off our next special AI cohort. This is a 3-week deep dive into the strategies that help schools build community as they build their AI literacy. Jeff and I have proudly co-hosted a number of cohorts, and we keep hearing back from participants that that's been a model that they have found really useful. Each of the 3 weeks kicks off a challenge. We've got a connected community where we're chatting throughout the week, and then we have extension resources. We do only have a few seats left for the cohort that kicks off next week. So if you're curious to learn more, you can head to www.shiftingschools.com, or you can head over to the show notes. In the show notes, you're also going to find a special listener discount where you can join the cohort at 50% off. That means you can join Jeff and I for 3 weeks of deep learning for just $88 US. Hope to see some of you at next week's cohort. And again, you can always reach out to us, info@shiftingschools.com, with your questions. Just a few seats left. Now, let's dig into the topic of this bonus episode, media literacy and the big game. All right, to kick off this conversation, let me bring you a few fun facts about Super Bowl advertising. The very first game, the very first Super Bowl in 1967, also had ads. You want to take a guess as to how much a 30-second ad back in 1967 cost a brand? Here, I'll give you a little multiple choice. Was it A, $10,000, B, $25,000, or C, $40,000. If you guessed C, you were right. Now, let's try that again. The Super Bowl spots for advertising for this year, again, just for a 30-second commercial. Is it A, $1 million, B, $5 million, or C, $7 million? If you guessed C, you were right. It's incredible to think about the cost a brand invests when they want to get their message in front of viewers. And that's because, of course, the Super Bowl is one of the most heavily viewed programs in the US, especially when we are thinking about live viewership. Now that we are in an era of streaming, it's not always so common that we've got so many folks watching the same thing all at once. That means that brands spend a heck of a lot of time thinking about the message that they craft. This also means for our students, it's a pivotal time for us to do some media literacy, to do some critical consuming of those ads that are often viewed again and again and again, and a hot topic for the whole week after the Super Bowl game. That's why we're so excited to bring you our free guide that's going to support those conversations. You can find this free guide at shiftingschools.com or just by visiting the show notes to this episode. The title of the free guide is 3 Ways to Leverage the Big Game for Big Learning. Once you get into that free guide, you are going to start things off with our BRASS framework. This is a series of 5 questions that we would recommend students are using as a menu when they are reviewing questions. Now, in the lead up to the Super Bowl, we think it's really helpful actually if you take a look at a few different popular ads. Exciting, I think, to look at what has been a theme in one given year, or to skip ahead in time. Look at one commercial from 2000. Look at one commercial from 2015. One commercial from 1999 and compare the differences. Our BRASS framework can be used, of course, at home too. It might be really great to have students practice using the BRASS framework and then engage their families with it. It's a series of questions where not every single question needs to be answered, but students also might pair a question with a commercial and explain and discuss why they think that pairing makes sense. If you're looking for a collection of ads, the free guide has that as well. We've handpicked a few that we think make for great conversation. Now, data literacy is also something that you hear Jeff and I talk about frequently, and the Super Bowl is a great opportunity for students to practice creating their own data visualization. The free guide has a few ways to think about doing that. This could be great to be experimenting with as a joint interdisciplinary math and ELA lesson. And if you want to learn more about data visualization, the free guide has resources on that too. Now, if you are a longtime listener, you know that I am really passionate about an activity called backward chaining for storytelling. This is a way to scaffold the creative writing, the storytelling process, where students aren't just starting from a blank page, but they actually have a resource that's going to help them with their planning, with their lift to the story. I've got a resource in the free guide to help you think more about backward chaining as a strategy for storyboarding and for writing. So again, it might just be that students are picking one advert and then drafting the initial storyboard that could have been used to pitch that story. This is a wonderful activity to get students thinking critically about the media that they come across during the Super Bowl. And it's got a little bit of a covert agenda in that it hopes to help inspire students to think critically about advertising they come across beyond the Super Bowl game. We know that teens are inundated with advertising through social media, and we do want to make sure that they are set up to be unpacking those ads, to be critical consumers of that media. So if you use our BRASS framework or you try out any of the activities inside that free guide, Jeff and I would love to hear back from you. Or perhaps you've got your own way of, again, amplifying media literacy during a time when so many folks are watching the same thing all at once. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@shiftingschools.com. Thanks for tuning in to this special bonus episode. Our series on mental health continues this Monday.